Hi everyone. Today we're covering decomposition reactions, the second type of reaction in Chapter 9. And I hope you have your notes out so that you can take those while we're going through the example problems. Decomposition reactions will occur only if energy is supplied. You're going to have one compound breaking apart into two or more simpler substances. And since energy has to be supplied to drive the reaction, it is an endothermic reaction. So our general formula is AX yielding A plus X. And in this example down here, we've got calcium bromide breaking apart into a calcium atom and the two bromine atoms bonded together as a molecule, diatomic bromine. So if you recall from yesterday, we looked at synthesis reactions. Synthesis and decomposition are exact opposites of each other. With synthesis, we had two simple substances coming together and bonding to form one product. Here, we have one reactant breaking apart into two simpler substances. Decomposition reactions are very easy to recognize because you're only going to have one reactant. And if you recall, I will give you the coefficients for all of the reactant types except for combustion reactions, which we are going to cover tomorrow. Now, with decomposition reactions, one of these four substances must be a product with the type of decomposition reactions that we're going to be working with. Carbon dioxide or water or hydrogen gas or oxygen gas must be one of the products in decomposition. So if you take a look at our first example here, we have cadmium carbonate. Now, I have oxygen present, but I also have carbon present. So I want to pull out all of the carbon dioxide molecules that I can possibly form. Now, since I only have one carbon and three oxygens, I can only pull out one carbon dioxide. So what remains? I've got a cadmium left and I've got an oxygen left. Cadmium is my metal, so I'm going to write that first, and then I'm going to attach my oxygen. Now, it doesn't matter if you write the carbon dioxide first or second, or if you write the cadmium oxide first or second. As long as you have both products written, then the answer is correct. Now take a look at our next example. I've got calcium hydroxide. A calcium, I've got two oxygens, two hydrogens. Now I'm not going to want to pull out hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. Since both hydrogen and oxygen are present, I'm going to want to pull out water. Now I can only make one water molecule in this case because I've got two hydrogens and two oxygens present in my reactant. So I'll take out all the water that I can. What's left over? I've got a calcium and I've got an oxygen. Well, what gets written first? The metal. And then the oxygen will get attached there. So these are my two products of the decomposition of calcium hydroxide. And you'll make sure that both sides are balanced. Two hydrogens, two oxygens here on the right, two oxygens on the left, and one calcium on each side. In my next example, I've got lithium carbonate. I'm going to pull out all the carbon dioxide that I can and take a look at what is left over. I've used up one carbon and two of the oxygens. I've got two lithiums and an oxygen left. Well, lithium is my metal, so I write that first, and there's two, Li2, and then attach the O. In my next example, I've got potassium, chlorine, and oxygen. Well, I can pull out oxygen gas. What is left over? I've got potassium and chlorine. Well, potassium is my metal, chlorine is my nonmetal, and so it would be written like so, potassium chloride and my oxygen gas. In the last example, I've got four nitrogens and six oxygens. Well, I have to write oxygen as diatomic, put a coefficient of 3 in front so that I show I have 6 atoms of oxygen on the right, just like on the left. And what do I have left? 4 nickel. And I have to write it like this, put the 4 in front as a coefficient. If you think that you're going to write it as Ni2 and put a 2 in front, nickel is not diatomic. Only those Brinkelhoff twins, remember? And you cannot write nickel as Ni4 when it's by itself. That is improper. You have to put the coefficient of the 4 in front. Remember, I have office hours. If you have questions, please complete your decomposition worksheet. submit your notes that you've just taken,